For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Shahnaz Zaidi ma'am with us, and she's the author of Baby's Breath and Foxglove. Thank you so much ma'am for coming on our show. I'm truly grateful कि आप हमारे शो पर आए.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Ma'am, so ma'am, before we get into the podcast and know much more about your book, about your upcoming projects and everything, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you, and do let us know how you started this writing journey as well.
To start with, I became a teacher by default and then continued, continued in my career. And as of now, I'm an educationist. I have headed many institutions which were in India and abroad, and taken head positions. And I grew up with 3 siblings, all brothers, so was little tomboyish, knew all the tricks of the trade, like cycling, playing marbles, and pony riding, and gardening, and that was my childhood. It was not in the room, not confined in the room, but it was very outward kids we were. So that gave us a lot of exposure. And when I was in class 11th, I did write a series of couple of poems, but that I just didn't feel like publishing. And at that time, it was very, very, difficult to get publishers and all that.
True.
So while I have my children and my daughters in US. So when I used to travel into US, I used to see that I'm talking about my first book, which is on autism, Baby's Breath. So I used to see that, the government is taking a lot of care about the autistic children, and they had special trainers, they have a WhatsApp group, and back in our own country in India, it was not the way, it was just pagalpan. It was like there were this I'm talking about, say, in 2016 17. So that urge gave me that, let me at least make them, our Indian people, let them be aware of what actually autism is. So I thought of it, and then I realized that if I write a very technical book, it will be not reader friendly. So let me go in for fiction, carve a good story around a protagonist. And so I wrote Baby's Breath, which is about Pari Khan, who is on ASD, that is autism spectrum disorder. And at that time, and this book is at the era I have written in an era 1955. At that time there were no these therapies and all as in today's world. So they were caregivers, and this book is also dedicated to caregivers, and the caregivers were Bua and her Bibi Sahab, because she was a foster care. This child. So how they, with unconditional love, which is the mantra of all these mental disease, and it has like the way they cared, and the way they even took, like really, really, it's very, in a very original and in a very simple way, brought this child up to feel that never give up, keep rising, and keep carving your way towards the goal. And she was basically very, as these children are, she was very, very interested in art. So it just goes on as Pari Khan, and how she, from a small little village of Najibabad, town of Najibabad, a small village was there, Hasanpur, and she was reared up in that Haveli. And she was pretty vain. She had her own mood swings. She was fidgety, fussy with the food. She had a very regimental routine what they follow in autistic children. They have to have it. But whenever anybody used to say, okay, Pari, you can you draw something, she used to draw these baby breath flowers which were
Okay.
the easiest to draw and present. And baby breath I have written because these are the flowers. If you have seen it, they are actually, they need a lot of support. They are generally in hotels, in bouquets and all. The white flowers, very small flowers, and they are very simple. And the sanctity and the dependence is all, what my title tells about Pari Khan.
So, ma'am, when it comes to talking from a new reader's perspective, like after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to explore the book, or they will be interested in reading it. So, as we have talked about the first book, Baby's Breath, right? So, when it comes to the second book, Foxglove, what a new reader can expect from this book? Can you share some insights with us?
So, the foxglove is found generally in the hilly and cold regions of India and abroad also. And here in India, it is basically in Kashmir, and it is very toxic. The leaf, the stem, the flowers are very attractive. Even in Bombay, they had somehow, in the hanging gardens, they had grown, and over there they had written over there, "Do not touch," because it is just for appreciation from far. So it's a story. Actually, I am a social cause writer. I write on social causes, and another thing that I thought of in India is the disability, physical disability is taken very lightly. Like if you see a physically disabled person, you from 10 you scale down to 1. A physical disabled person is not a person who's not brilliant, who's not intelligent, who doesn't have the same feelings. Somehow, we underrate it, which is in our society. So this book is about the protagonist is Kubru Anmol, who names himself as Anmol Sone. He's called Kubru by the neighborhood because he has congenital kyphosis. That is a little hunch, that has given him short height.
Okay.
And his mother, because his mother is a funambulist, that is a tightrope walker, and she had been raped, and this is rape with the child. This is the child who has been out of rape. So she calls that hunt as the extra love of God. This is the unconditional love of mother. When he cannot sleep on his own on the back, he sleeps prone position, on his stomach. So as she puts oil, and she also sings Tera Mujhse Hai Pehle Ka Nata Koi, a song which everybody would relate to.
True.
And she just gives him a consolation that this is the mother's God's extra love. And this is how he grows. And then one day, because there is so much of bickering around and people are ridiculing that, and she calls him lucky, but they say he's the most unlucky child, because he is out of rape, So she commits suicide, and Kubru is left alone in the world to face a disabled person. And this is a journey how he has two desires. Kubru, when he becomes around say 10 to 11 years, he has two desires: to become very tall and to become very, very rich. That's why he names himself Anmol Sone. And he is from Dharavi, slum Dharavi, from Bombay. He's from there. And one day, and he has all the, the feelings of a normal person. He admires the opposite sex. He likes the girls. He loves to dress well. But basically, what he feels is that disabled person is, somehow underrated. And he shows, and he's a very good fan of, extremely, he is a fan of Shah Rukh Khan. So he has basically seen Dawn at least 6 to 7 times, and from there he wants to become rich in a short while. He just wants to steal a car, but every plan of his fails, and sometimes he gets fed up that I'm fed up with this extra love of God on me. You know, he doesn't want to hold the baggage. He wants to grow tall and he wants to live a normal life of a rich person. So this is how the story goes. And in the end, you know, of course, he falls in love with a girl. And then you all can just read it, how this person becomes rich also and famous also. That I leave to my readers.
Okay, that's quite interesting, ma'am. In fact, you know, I have been in conversation with so many authors, but nobody have ever, you know, read something related to these kinds of things, because often we ignore such kind of people in our society and we don't look up to them. So that will be definitely an amazing read.
Like when
yeah,
like few incidences which I can just share with you. Like whenever he sat in the bus, local bus, BTC bus in the Bombay, you know, as they run the red buses, everybody is very familiar. My one thing about my books are that they are very simple. It's very simple English. Anybody with little bit of English, this thing will able to relate and understand. I don't test readers. And the other thing is that when he used to sit. The other person used to always change the seat, you know.
Definitely.
So that feeling is there. That feeling is there. That how the society looks, and he is looking at the mannequins or going to the food restaurant. People used to tell him go, but when he used to go at Haji Ali or at Mount Mary Church, it is based in Bombay and Goa. While begging, people used to give him extra alms because he was hunched. You understand how the world takes you.
True.
As a beggar, he was the king. But in the society, he was as a person who was disabled. So this is what it is. But he always had a thing that he has to show up and he has to equal a normal person, and that he did in his book, because my books are always with a very positive message. So the reader can get encouraged, even a disabled person can get encouraged, and my reviews are such that yes, these people are not alone in this world. There are people who are still there where people need to support, but yes, there are more and more people who make fun of such people. You know, like people used to go to the park, and if he is swinging, they used to withdraw their children from there, you know, don't go there. So this was so painful, not realizing that this Anmol Sone has emotions also. You know, they are very, very sensitive indeed.
In fact, you know, it is something which we definitely have been, like, almost each and every reader who will be reading this book will be able to read, because every day, you know, someday or other day we get to know about these kinds of people. We even see these kinds of people, and we exactly do what other people are doing as of now in the book, what I can feel. So definitely, I guess...
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. It's got nothing put on. My character, you can relate very well. You can find it's very common. My books are very Indian, based in India. They are like really, really Indian. That is why it's very reader friendly and simple English. But yes, there is a message, and a strong message.
Okay. So ma'am, like, as you have talked about your new readers, now let's talk about the person who have already read your both of the books. So is there anything in the pipeline? You're writing something, you want to experiment on some other genres, or you want to stick to only these only? Is there something upcoming as of now?
Yeah, my third novel, that I'll say, because I am a fiction writer, and I write on social causes. So my third is on the child abuse, the assault. You know, Foxglove has a rape incident in which this person is born out of rape. But this, the Birds of Paradise, is my third one coming, which will definitely be published by this year. Got little late because I was a little, occupied in 2022. Otherwise, it is a book a year for me. So in 2021, I wrote 22. So that's so this is about the assault, and the message is that there's about two friends. This is the name of the book is Birds of Paradise, which is going to come up soon, and it's about true friendship, how a friend stands by the other friend, and in thick and thin of life, it's called true friendship. And yes, true friendship still exists But another thing that I'm exhibiting in that book is the assault. What generally happens that if in the childhood, especially for girls, some untoward incident happens, which we read every day in the papers. It's become very common. It was not that common, or maybe the media was not there when we were children. And it's always shunned down by the family. Don't say it, nobody will marry you, or don't do it, now your life is over. Just so that victim becomes that person becomes very, very, she goes into depressions, and she thinks that her world is over with no fault of hers. It can happen at any time. But in my book, again, a positive message. I take out this girl from that, and I try to bring this character to face the world and to become a good, whatever I will not disclose the end, but it's a very positive end. And I mean that the message should go that an assault is over. It's not your whole lifetime that you stick by it. You have to move on in life. The life has to go on, and nobody will remember once that you have had such things, because when you become a person with some financially independent and professional, nobody will ever ask you that you had undergone that incident. But yes, it affects you. You keep thinking but then what happens when your mom or your dad or the society or whoever knows about it just undermines it and says that you are it's over now. The only solution is to get her married. So this is not my work. I have given a little different thing, and this has to happen. So this is the other book that is coming, which is called Birds of Paradise.
So currently, what's your writing schedule, ma'am? Like every day you devote some particular hours to your writing, or it's like random ki, some days get some thoughts, you just jot it down on some phone, on diary, and after that you elaborate. How does it goes with you?
So the writing, basically, every author has to have a routine if he or she wants to do a story. It has to be a very regimental one, and I start at around 7.
Okay.
I give a break at around 9:30, and then I start for breakfast, and then I start at around 10:15, and then write till 2:30.
Wow.
Sometimes when somebody comes in as a guest or something, I just be with that and then cover up in the night. But I have a very, very, I write around 500 words, almost 300 to 500 words a day.
Wow. That's inspiring.
You cannot take it lightly. No, you cannot take it. You cannot just jot down here and there. Nothing comes. You have to just be there, very focused and into it, with lot of peace of mind also. If something is going to happen, or you are going to arrange for a dinner, or you're going out in a party or attending a wedding, then you cannot write a book. You have to just neglect those days. That's very important.
True.
So like an office, as you all go, the young ones go to the office, I dress up and nicely, not in my, I sit on my office. I'm in my writing table, and I write it and nobody has ever told me to do it. Nobody in my family has ever said that you do it, but I stick to my routine, and I like a person with routine.
In fact, what I also feel that when you said about dressing up thing, what I felt that when I was personally having that this recording things, initially I used to just take my laptop to my home and just start the recording. But now I particularly come to my office, I dress up, I just start the recording, I just do it with my laptop only. But that vibe has to be completely maintained.
That vibe has to be there. That you are even if you are writing and nobody is there to see me,
Definitely.
I feel like doing it.
Bilkul.
It makes a lot of difference.
I read it somewhere the other day. It was written that it's the most easiest thing to make fool to yourself. Like अपने आप को बेवकूफ बनाना बड़ा easy है. If you can stay committed, if you can stay loyal to yourself, na, then you can achieve anything in this world.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so ma'am, like let's go back to the time when you heard कि okay, tomorrow your book will be live. Everybody will be able to buy it. Everybody will be able to judge it on the basis of what you have written, and people will be able to just pass comments on that and everything like that. So on that particular eve, what was going on your mind? Like, were you relaxed? You just excited, or you just marked up some milestones? Okay, these many people know me. My book has to be sold out these many copies. What was going on your mind at that time?
My first book was, I don't believe in book launch. Let me tell you, I may sound a little rude or a little, what is she saying as an author? But what I say, it is the book launch, according to me, is where half the people have not even read a single book. I have seen it, and I can assess. The book launch should be on the targeted audience. If it is ever a school called Paisam, in which my nephew used to go, and it is I call those. I have also visited, and these children, these are Asperger, ADHD, and autistic children. Their parents and the students of that institute were the only 50 audience in front of which I read Baby Breath. And I was very happy. It was online because it was COVID times, where there was no launch just such. But yes, I read my baby's breath, little small experts from them, to the people who could understand what ADHD is, what autism is, what Asperger is. A very, very small targeted audience. I have not done. And the Foxglove, I did a little bit in Shakuntala Devi University, which is a university in Uttar Pradesh in Lucknow. I belong to Lucknow.
Okay.
So it is of disabled people. So I did a small thing on Zoom only. I have not been anywhere, neither I've thrown a party, neither I've had a huge, I feel that the message is more important. It should go to the targeted audience,
True.
I have never invited any chief guest or anything. It is just even for Birds of Paradise, through my Instagram page, they will to know only. I will be not, I'll be just, it's never a launch. I find it more, I am very happy when I read yes, I'm interested in the reviews. So I always say, please read and write the reviews, because the reviews are important and they improve my writing and my thought process. Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, when it comes to talking about the new authors, after listening to this podcast, many people will just love to start writing, or they must be holding their first draft in their laptop, in their diary. So what would be your advice for those upcoming authors?
So what I feel is that I don't know how people will agree about it, but firstly, this is your passion. If it is a passion of writing books, if you are like, I'm a learner, I keep observing people, I keep going to the marketplace, I go to any place and I observe people and I pick up something from there, or from my previous life experiences. I've been in many colleges and schools, and I love to interact with young people because I'm very flexible. I'm not rigid. So the first thing is that take it as a passion. If you are passionate about anything, like you're passionate about drawing, or you're passionate about gardening, or you're passionate about writing, so firstly, accept it as a passion. Don't convert that passion into your income. Are you understanding?
Yeah.
So because the minute you convert your passion into income, you start feeling, that passion, that fine thread goes away from your thing. Secondly, it is very, very, I want to tell all this to the new authors. It is very easy to write a book. It is just a chain of thoughts from one. It just keeps coming, in your mind
Hmm.
as you are writing. The third thing is that let that book of yours be very reader friendly. Do not say that ek karodpati tha, like that person cannot relate. You have to come down to simple people who are on your roadside, in the neighborhood, in your family, in maybe in the airplane. I pick up everything now. Now my mind keeps wondering that yes, this is it, and this is it. But this didn't happen in my first book. I was a little scared, but that how am I going? So I used to keep sharing the story with my family. And one of my cousins, she was going through chemotherapy. And she used to say that when you come and I'm talking about Baby's Breath. When you come and share the story with me, I forget about my disease. So then I could understand that how deep it was, my book, because I was not very certain how it will go. But it got validated by Mental Health of America. It went on the shelves of Book of Fall by Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
So I was very happy, but definitely we had more of international clients than readers than the Indian ones, although it was very Indian. And we have a small function in this book I have mentioned. Chapter 7 is the book of Baby's Breath, in which I have mentioned Rosa Kushai. It is the first fast that is kept by the child.
Okay.
And one of my friend in Brazil, she gave me a message that it's such a beautiful name, can I name my daughter as Rosa Kushai? I said, go ahead. Like she had no clue, because never, only Eid and Bakrid is discussed, never the first fast. So it's that full chapter is there. So the writing for Baby's Breath, it was more of having the Muslim culture, and the people should know about each other's culture, what happens in Holi, then what happens in Eid or when you fast. And for new authors, let me tell you, your first draft can be your best draft also. I don't believe in this. It is very easy to write. You should have the command of over whichever language you are writing in. Vocabulary, a sensible vocabulary, and the vocabulary will increase automatically, because your brain is every day reading and then reading and writing. Then you should be a good reader. You should read all types of books, and you should devote at least 2 hours if you are working, and retired you can devote at least 4 hours of writing, but you have to write every day. Don't be disappointed about your first draft. First draft can give you those thoughts when you read it and you realize that this is it what I have written. Because let me tell you, young authors, that only the paper takes everything of you. It accepts. It is very obedient to you. Whatever you write, it accepts. It is the only thing in the whole world that accepts everything from a human is the paper.
Okay, so
have you understood?
Definitely, ma'am. Because
paper will take your thoughts, your emotions, your sadness, your happiness, everything. The paper, whatever you want to write, will be the paper. You can type on your laptop. I also type now. I don't write, but I'm saying first draft, don't be disappointed. It will give you so many things, the links from there only. So don't just say, it is my first draft or final draft. You understand?
True. Because please.
And the other thing is, in your story, the protagonist should be the pivotal point. The story should revolve around it. You should not go astray. That is a very important suggestion which I am giving to the young authors. To start writing, and everything that connects with that protagonist should be in your book. That makes it very interesting. If you start talking about the protagonist's grandfather was this and then you are actually going away from your topic, the reader will flip those pages. They will not like it. That's very important.
Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely and inspiring conversation with Shehnaz Zaidi, ma'am. And if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. You can just search on Amazon, Shehnaz Zaidi. Either you can search Baby's Breath or Foxglove, A Tussle Between Luck and Destiny. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on our show. I'm truly honored कि आप हमारे show पर आए, ma'am.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for giving me this honor. And I hope that I have mentioned some points, and I'll get more and more authors will be in India after listening to it.
Definitely, ma'am, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.